Joseph Conover was the moment that ex-cop turned felon Joseph Conover
and I'm Martha Sigalski, Sherry Raposo.
Well, guys, that didn't take long. So, we've been looking at Jeremy DeWitt here the past few weeks. Covered a lot of the stuff that he's done here recently and all this stuff. So, I thought it'd be fun to switch to a different person. Well, this is two people, actually. We're going to be looking at two co-defendants out in Florida, out of Kissimmee, Florida, specifically, Osceola County. Still in Jeremy's turf, but the only connection I can find between these two people and Jeremy is the fact that they have the same judge presiding over their cases, for the most part. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But these are impersonation charges, just like Jeremy. But there's a little bit of information concerning this impersonation charge involving a fraud. So we're going to look into Joseph Conover and Sherry Raposo. Where does this story begin? The story behind Sherry Raposo and Joseph Conover's arrest originates from a neighborhood in Kissimmee, Florida called the Turnberry Reserves. And as you can see here on your screen, this is Turnberry Reserves. This huge, sprawling neighborhood. All right. Here's what I know as of right now. Turnberry Reserves is a neighborhood with a homeowners association. And we can get into HOA laws all day long. But the HOA is basically like a neighborhood government, kind of. Not officially a government, but they make rules that all the homeowners agreed to abide by, such as how to keep their yards looking neat, how to maintain their properties so they don't devalue the properties in the neighborhood. It's basically, the original concept is to make sure that the neighborhood stays in pristine condition so that homeowners can retain a nice resale value on their houses in the neighborhood. But the HOA board for Turnberry voted in to contract with a HOA management company called Management 35. Management 35 is run and owned by Sherry Raposo. Sherry Raposo has started some controversy in the neighborhood. She was trying to do criminal trespass orders against homeowners in the neighborhood for trying to use this area right here. This is the recreational center for the neighborhood with a swimming pool, tennis courts, a nice building right here where they hold meetings for the HOA board and everything. People couldn't even go out here and sit on the picnic benches because of Sherry Raposo and her quote-unquote in-house security team. And we'll get into that in a second. They were trying to do criminal trespass orders. There's video evidence of her and a female security guard that she says is in-house security trying to get the Osceola County Sheriff's Department to put a criminal trespass order against a actual homeowner who pays their dues, they're not behind on their dues, from accessing this area right here, the recreation center. The deputy refuses because the deputy said, I can't, because if they're behind on their dues, it's a civil matter, not a criminal matter. And if they're a homeowner in this neighborhood, like I can clearly verify that they are, I can't criminal trespass them from property owned by the HOA because they're a member of the HOA. And we'll get into the security thing in a minute.
This is public
But
area.
we're sitting outside on a
Alright.
park bench. We're not doing anything. We're talking amongst friends.
Mike 3, Charlie 1. I have a couple of people out here that were
This is
part of the
public area
CDC meeting.
by the police.
They are refusing to leave. I've asked them several times to leave. I told them that if they don't go, they will be trespassed.
We're not causing a disturbance. We're just sitting here quietly amongst
Ma'am, I
ourselves.
understand, but
They're
this
my
is...
guests, and I'm still here. They're my guests.
No,
Yeah.
no, I've already asked them to leave, so...
We're
being your
not
guest
doing
is out of the
anything
question.
hostile.
No, because
We're
I'm
not
still
being
waiting for
belligerent
so.
I understand, but I've already asked them to leave.
without cause. There's no cause to ask us to
Ma'am,
leave.
you are
have to be
on
fucked up on
private
your head, for
HOA
real.
property.
I'm on
So
a
therefore,
picnic
I am
table
asking
talking
you
to my
leave.
neighbors. I'm just having a conversation privately with my neighbors. That's all I'm doing.
Ma'am, I've already asked you to leave.
I'll be leaving when I'm done.
All right,
how long
so
we
at
recognize
this
you
point, I'm
authority?
gonna have to contact Osceola County
Can I
Sheriff.
see your
perfect.
credentials?
Let me see your credentials.
Yeah, let
Okay.
them.
I need to see your credentials, please.
I don't have to show you anything, ma'am.
Yes,
You
you
do.
have.
Ma'am,
Your security. You
I
need to
already
show
asked you
me
to go.
your
Are you a licensed
credentials.
person?
Wow, she doesn't want
Ahí
to.
está, solo yo sé.
correct. They are,
That's
just passed. They are refusing
not
to leave. I
in
think at this point, I'm gonna
the
have to
pool
contact
area.
Osceola County.
¿Casualidad tú has chequeado los credenciales del jefe tuyo? ¿Ah?
You guys are refusing to leave. I'm calling cops.
Okay.
The cops
Watch.
love.
She also sent fines because the homeowners inside Turnberry Reserves got out here on the public sidewalk. Right out here next to this road. And we're protesting with protest signs. What'd she do? Well, it just so happens that the Homeowners Association has a rule that you can't place signs out in your yard because it makes the properties go down in value. It makes them look junky and trashy and tacky. And so, even though they were holding signs and they were out here on a public sidewalk, not a sidewalk maintained and owned by the HOA, Sherry Raposo sent fines to every single person that she recognized out here with a sign protesting her being the HOA manager and her unjust treatment of homeowners for I believe it was either unlawful or unregistered signs on property. So she's already showing a bad side, trying to criminally trespass homeowners from using the recreation area that they pay dues for. And now she's trying another tactic, trying to fine homeowners for using a public sidewalk to do First Amendment protected activities, which she has no authority over.
Investigates learned an Osceola County commissioner is calling on FDLE to investigate the HOA management company that hired this ex-cop turned felon to work inside a Kissimmee community. We have been telling you about the back and forth between people who live in the Turnberry Reserve neighborhood and Management 35 firm for more than a month after investigative reporter Carla Ray first exposed neighbors' concerns in that neighborhood. She joins us live. And Carla, some of those folks just filed a lawsuit against that management company.
Yeah, and the folks that filed that lawsuit were actually issued HOA violations for standing right where I am a few weeks ago, holding signs asking their neighbors to vote in a new board of directors. I should tell you that this is actually county right-of-way property. They hope the lawsuit will get those violations removed and those fines removed as well, and they're hoping to get the management company here removed as well.
After these Turnberry homeowners rallied in support of overthrowing their current HOA, they started receiving these notices of violation from their HOA management company, fining them for illegal signs.
And every single time I am exposed, I receive a violation.
But there's a major problem.
Can you confirm for us that that is in fact county property?
It is county property, and it belongs to the citizens, and they have a right to stand out there and protest. There's nothing she can do about it, and the county doesn't even require a permit for it.
Osceola County Commissioner Fred Hawkins is now asking FDLE to investigate the owner of Management 35, Sherry Raposo, seen here during a board meeting last week. 4 homeowners just named her, the current HOA board members, and her live-in business partner, Joseph Conover, who we exposed as an ex-cop turned felon working in the community in a lawsuit after receiving those recent violations.
The common denominator in all the issues that we're having within our community is Management 35 and Sherry Raposo and Joseph Conover.
In addition to the fines, the group claims they've been denied access to the HOA's website, meaning they can't pay on their account balance or see community correspondence. Commissioner Hawkins believes it's targeted.
It's not a coincidence, and if Sherry's watching this, if she wants to have her attorney send me a cease and desist letter like she's done to everybody else, go for it, Sherry.
The security staff is another thing. The security staff patrols the neighborhood in a marked security patrol vehicle, but Sherry Raposo does not have a security license to own or operate a security company in Florida. And the head of her security staff, according to her, it's in-house, is a man by the name of Joseph Conover. Joseph Conover is a convicted felon. His felony convictions come from the state of North Carolina, but that doesn't matter. The state of Florida can pull his records from North Carolina, see where he was convicted. And he was a private police officer within the state of North Carolina. He owned his own private police department within the state of North Carolina. That's how they do security. You get a basic law enforcement training certification from the state. You can open up your own private police department and have clients come to you, and your officers have powers of arrest like a regular police officer does. But their powers of arrest are limited to the actual client sites. They get to drive vehicles that say company police on the side of them, wear badges that say company police officer, things like that. But with a felony conviction, he cannot get a security license in the state of Florida. And the way that they're using in-house security, Sherry Raposo says he's in-house security for my company, Management 35. He's my in-house security. Well, that's not how it works when you have your management company running security for a private neighborhood. That would be considered a contract security, which is what ultimately led to the impersonation charges, because Management 35 was a contracted company, contracted to assist in management and enforcement of rules within the HOA in the neighborhood. But Sherry Raposo's in-house security for Management 35 would have to be a contracted security company, and they don't have a license to do that. So Joseph Conover, being a convicted felon, he gets arrested. He gets 3 counts of impersonation of a security officer. Sherry Raposo gets a single charge of a 3rd-degree felony for impersonation of security guard or officer, or whatever you want to call them. And there's some more details to the charges Sherry Raposo has. Joseph Conover only has the 3 counts of impersonation. Sherry has 1 count of impersonation, but she has 3 other charges, so let's go check those out. Alright, so here we are on Mr. Conover's documents from the court involved in his arrest. As you can see here, in Division 301, 2020 CF 1099C, State of Florida versus Joseph Michael Conover. Count 1, falsely personating officer. Count 2, falsely personating officer. Count 3, falsely personating officer. And it goes on to say here, in the name and by the authority of the state of Florida, I'm probably going to butcher this, Aramis D. Ayala, State Attorney of the 9th Judicial Circuit, prosecuting for the state of Florida in Osceola County, State Attorney of the by and through the undersigned designated Assistant State Attorney under oath, charges that Joseph Michael Conover on or about the 7th day of January 2019 in said county and state did, in violation of Florida Statute 843.08, falsely assume or pretend to be an officer and took upon himself or herself to act as such or required another person to aid or assist the said Joseph Michael Conover in a matter pertaining to the duty of any such officer. And count 3 and 2 are going to say the same thing. These are the charges. Again, you can go to the Osceola Clerk of Court's website to pull this up. Order directing clerk to issue capias. Looks like his bond was $1,000 on each of the 3 counts. And under condition of release, he is not to return to the scene of the offense, meaning he cannot go back onto Turnberry Reserve property at all. And it also says that probable cause exists for the detention of the above named defendant. Done and ordered this 8th day of April 2020. And so this comes from the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Office of Agricultural Law Enforcement. Case number 19-2998. It's a felony case. Of course, they redacted this. And the investigator is Robert Shorback, a duly and lawfully appointed law enforcement investigator for the state of Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Office of Agricultural Law Enforcement, and has all the powers and duties of a law enforcement officer in and for the state of Florida. A complaint was received from the Division of Licensing from a consumer complaint dated July 4th, 2019. This complaint alleges that a convicted felon, Joseph Michael Conover, was and is working as an unlicensed security guard in the Turnberry Reserve community in Kissimmee. This case was assigned to me on September 18th, 2019. A search was conducted of the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Offender Public Information Internet site. Joseph Conover was convicted on February 3rd, 2017, and served a prison sentence from February 15th, 2017 until November 1st, 2019, when he was placed on parole until July 29th, 2019. Conover was convicted of obstructing justice, simple assault affray, willful failure to discharge duty, and false imprisonment. Conover is a convicted felon out of the state of North Carolina. FDACS licensing records were reviewed. Joseph Conover had a D security guard license until June 8th, 2017, when it was revoked by FDACS. Conover held a DI security instructor license until September 22nd, 2016, when his renewal application was denied by FDACS. I kept saying DFACS. Conover held an MB Security Agency Manager license until June 8th, 2017, when it was revoked by FDACS. Joseph Conover has not been licensed under Chapter 493 since June 8th of 2017. On September 17th, 2019, I went to the Florida Department of Corrections Community Corrections Office at 1605 North John Young Parkway in Kissimmee and met with Correctional Probation Officer Chris Morrissey. Officer Morrissey informed me that Joseph Conover was on parole supervised by Correctional Probation Specialist Dan Richburg at the Kissimmee office, and his supervision ended August 1st, 2019. Officer Morrissey obtained the file maintained on Conover and allowed me to view it. I selected written monthly reports completed by Conover, as well as relevant documents. The documents, 62 pages in total, were scanned and sent to me via email by Officer Morrissey. In the file, I saw that Conover identified himself as the Public Safety Director of Turnberry Reserve, employed by Management 35 firm, charged with security of the community. He provided his home address of redacted. Officer Morrissey also sent me via email excerpts from case notes entered by Officer Richborough, which he believed material to my investigation. One of the documents obtained from Conover's parole file is a letter written on Management 35 letterhead in Management 35 Firm Inc. letterhead, signed by Sherry Raposo to the National Crime Prevention Association, dated March 15th, 2019. M35 letter to, that's just a file. The letter refers to Joseph Conover as a Public Safety Director, Operations Manager, and as Chief. It is written as a reference in furtherance of Conover's National Crime Prevention Specialist certification, and states, Chief Conover has been instrumental in implementing the safety, security, and crime prevention programs within the residential communities we manage, as well as implementing our in-house security department. A search was conducted of the website of the State of Florida's Department of State Division of Corporations. Management 35 Firm Inc. is an active business entity. Sherry Raposo is registered as the president of Management 35 Firm, Inc. A search of FDAC's licensing records revealed that Management 35 Firm, Inc. is not a licensed security company under Chapter 493. And so here we get to the probable cause affidavit for the arrests. On September 25th, 2019, I went to Turnberry Reserve neighborhood in Kissimmee at the Neighborhood Community Center. I observed a black 2013 Ford Police Interceptor bearing Florida registration JH46NU. It was equipped with an overhead light bar emergency signal lighting on the dashboard and the front grille, a spotlight, and a decal package that included public safety on the front, rear, and both sides. The Florida State seal on the driver and front passenger doors. The words Turnberry Reserve HOA on both sides, with Management 35 Firm's phone number and website. On both sides, and a placard on the front which read Florida Public Safety Turnberry Reserve HOA. The vehicle was parked in the parking lot. Photographs were obtained. On September 25th, 2019, Sherry Raposo contacted investigator Joe Salvaggio and requested a meeting with him. Investigator Salvaggio agreed and asked if she could bring Joseph Conover. The meeting was scheduled for the next day. On September 26th, I met with investigator Nelson Gonzalez and Ron Salvaggio. I told you I was going to mess up names. And Joseph Conover and Sherry Raposo at the FDAC's office at 1707 Orlando Central Parkway in Orlando. During the meeting, Conover made the following statements. He represents himself as the Chief of Public Safety for Management 35 Firm, and he reported to his parole officer that he is the Security Director for Management 35 Firm. He responds to security matters when they are reported to him by the on-duty security officer. He wrote the post orders for the security guards for Turnberry Reserve Homeowners Association. He patrols the neighborhood for HOA violations. He trained the security personnel at the Turnberry Reserve community. Management 35 Firm owns the black public safety patrol vehicle. He is a nationally certified crime prevention practitioner certified through the Florida Attorney General's office. He performs crime prevention consulting and training professionally. He gave the letter M35 letter referenced above to his parole officer. During the meeting, Sherry Raposo stated she wrote the letter referenced above for Mr. Conover. On October 9th, 2019, I met with Omsmi Barbosa at his home. I redacted the address on purpose. In a sworn recorded statement. And this is what Mr. Barbosa had to say. On Saturday, January 5th, 2019, his kids came to him crying because they had been told to leave the neighborhood park by Mr. Conover. He went to the park and met with Mr. Conover and asked Conover about the incident with his kids. Conover told him, "I don't have to give you an explanation. Get the out of here." The following Monday, January 7th, he saw Conover putting a letter in his mailbox. Conover was dressed in a dark shirt with security visibly printed on the back. khaki cargo pants, a hat, boots, and sunglasses with a video camera. He confronted Conover and asked him to identify himself. Conover identified himself as Joe, the chief of security for the Turnberry Reserve community. Since then, he has seen Conover in the neighborhood wearing the security shirt on numerous occasions. Conover has been observed parking in front of his home for long periods of time. He has seen Conover driving the black marked public safety patrol car in the neighborhoods on numerous occasions. He referred to a digital photograph, which he displayed on a computer monitor of Joseph Conover seated in the driver's seat of the black marked public safety patrol car. He took a photograph in the Turnberry Reserve neighborhood on May 24th, 2019 at 4:49 p.m. He also referred to another photograph which he displayed on the computer monitor of the black marked public safety patrol car. God, this is getting repetitive. Parked at a curb with the light bar illuminated and the driver's door opened with Joseph Conover standing at the open door, entering or exiting the vehicle, wearing a green boonie hat and a yellow traffic vest and dark pants. He took the photograph in the Turnberry Reserve neighborhood on May 20th, 2019 at 2:48 p.m. And another photo, which he displayed on the computer monitor, the photograph was taken from the vantage of the driver's seat of a car with the camera facing the rear. The photograph depicts the black marked public safety patrol car parked offset behind the photographer's car and offset into the street with the light bar illuminated and Joseph Conover in the street walking toward the photographer from the patrol car. Kind of sounds like he tried to do a dang traffic stop as a security guard. Conover was wearing a gray t-shirt and blue jeans, dark sunglasses, and a white card on a lanyard hanging from his neck. This photograph was taken in the Turnberry Reserve community by his nephew, Edwin Barbosa. The next day, he filed a report with Osceola County Sheriff's Office concerning this event. Twice in January of 2019, he saw Mr. Conover in the Turnberry Reserve community wearing a holstered firearm on his belt. Ooh, that's a no. Convicted felon can't have that. And a shirt with security printed on the back. He is worried about Mr. Conover because of his criminal record. And as you could read in the previous statement, further up in this, that Mr. Conover has some issues with use of force. I then met with Edwin Barbosa. Again, I redacted the address. Provided me with the following sworn recorded statement, which was translated by Mr. Barbosa. On May 15th, 2019, he was driving in the Turnberry community. He noticed that he was being followed by a black Turnberry Reserve Public Safety Patrol car. He stopped on Turnberry Boulevard. The public safety car stopped behind him. The public safety car was being driven by Joseph Conover. Conover activated the emergency lights, got out of the car, and approached him. He took a photograph of Conover, which was the photograph we've seen in the statement above, then drove away. Conover got back in the public safety car and followed him, the same address that I redacted before, where he stopped and went inside. Conover then turned around and drove away. The next day, he and Mr. Barbosa filed a report with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office concerning this event. On October 10th, 2019, I met with Correctional Probation Specialist Dan Richborough at the FDC Community Correction Office located at 31 Colburn Avenue in Orlando. The only reason I haven't redacted any of the law enforcement agency offices' addresses is because you'd be stupid to try to go there and do anything. In his sworn recorded statement, Officer Richborough indicated the following. He supervised Joseph Conover's term of parole for the state of North Carolina via the Interstate Compact from November 19th, 2018 until his termination date of August 1st, 2019. And we'll get into the Interstate Compact if you guys ever want to talk about it in a different video. But it's a whole thing to do with inmates and transferring their probation or correction incarceration time to a different state for which they're going to reside in after their incarceration time is over with. We can get into that at a later time, though. From the Kissimmee Community Corrections Office, while on parole, Conover submitted written monthly reports which indicated Conover's employment with Management 35 firm as the Public Safety Director or Security Director. While conducting a home visit in June 2019, he saw Mr. Conover in the passenger seat of a black sedan marked Public Safety. Conover was wearing a black shirt with the word security printed on it. Conover told him that he was training a staff member, the female security guard who was driving the vehicle. During his term of supervision, Conover provided him with a letter from the National Crime Prevention Association, which was placed in Conover's file. The Community Corrections Office received a complaint that Conover was acting in the capacity of an armed security guard and had been seen carrying a firearm. A search of Conover's vehicle was conducted at the Kissimmee Community Corrections Office the same day, but no firearm was located. They did locate flashlights and a radio indicating to him that Conover was performing security work. No search of Conover's house was ever conducted. That is the boo-boo on the probation's side. They should have went directly to the house and did a search. A review of Officer Richborough's field notes indicated the FDC Kissimmee Community Corrections Office was informed on February 22nd, 2019 by Mr. Barbosa that Conover was seen at Turnberry Reserve carrying a firearm, and June 24th, 2019 at 8:20 p.m. was the time that Officer Richborough observed Conover in the public safety vehicle referenced in his sworn recorded statement. And this is just basically going over everything as to why they have probable cause to arrest. So this is all the details that they needed from these statements and everything else in this probable cause affidavit so that they can arrest him on the charges of impersonation. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. There will be another part to this. We'll see how many parts I'm going to have to do on this because this video is starting to get long. But, as always, like, share, subscribe. I know you heard the Discord. Guys, go to the channel page. Go to the About section. There's a link so you can join the Discord if you want to get in on the discussion of Jeremy DeWitt or the Raposo Conover case. If you have a subject you would like me to touch on, that's the best way to get in touch with me is on Discord. Again, like, share, subscribe. See you in the next one.